crown me, you crown me.
Hi guys, welcome back to Happily Ever After. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's been an amazing journey. We wanted to have a bit of a chat about some romance in the bedroom. Romance when you are married, obviously, I think for us it's so important, but also how to keep it happening when you're married. I think there's so many things that people say, and then there's like an actual thing happening, and then there's friends chilling with friends and advising each other on how to keep what do we say? Is it the flames in the bedroom? What's the word? What's the term?
How to keep the what? Spark, the
Yes,
fire.
how to keep the fire in the bedroom. Yes. Babe, do you want to go first?
Yo, how? What do you mean how? Like,
Let's address the fact that women and men are designed differently.
yeah,
So you guys could have it all day, every day,
Astrid, give
5
it to me
times a
right
day.
now.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
Whereas us women, it may be a little harder to go into it, kind of a situation. And obviously, once you're married, there's that expectation of everyday kind of a situation. So I want to chat about how, if I'm not feeling it and you feeling it, which you always are, and I'm like, nah, then how do we
Always.
overcome that? Do you know what I mean? Do you now throw your toys? Does that give you a reason to now go cheat? Kind of a situation. Do you know what I mean? Like, I wanted to address all those like very ugly topics about sex within, because I think it's so important. We overlook it, especially in the first year of marriage, because like, was it not part of our therapy where we received a book where we were told, please read this book, and then we established that this book is very sexual, like very
It's like,
sexual.
do it all the time. Do it in the
Yes.
kitchen. Do it wherever you gotta do
But
it.
what do you suggest other people should do if the one partner is not feeling it and the other partner is in the mood?
Hey, you see, yeah. Based on the times we are in now,
Yeah.
no is no.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So that you can't really force yourself, because you can't force yourself, plain and simple. Not really. You can't force yourself at all, because you can't. I don't own you like that. At the end of the
Yes.
day, like, if you're not up for it, you're not up for it. But
Yes.
I think even in counseling they said, okay, but you need to communicate that.
Yes.
And what's the reasoning? Make me understand. Okay, cool. Go. Okay, cool. Babe, I'm not up for it. What's up? Because now you find that you might say, I'm not up for it, not explain to me why you're not
Yeah.
up for it. And then I sit down and I'll start thinking, oh, she's cheating, she's seeing somebody else, kind of a
Yeah.
thing. So I think it's always important to communicate.
Also, the whole you don't want me thing.
Yeah, like, oh, what is it? You don't
Yeah.
want me, But it now builds up insecurities, and I think that
Yes.
rejection comes in and it kind of creates insecurities within the guys to go out, and then, you know what I mean. So I think it's very important to communicate
Yeah.
what it is. Why are you saying no?
Yeah.
Kind of a thing.
So I read up a lot on keeping the fire burning in the relationship. I also follow like a certain married couple, and they'll like advise, and I think it's mostly direct. I don't know why it's mostly directed at women. And maybe, yes, like I said, well,
Because
we are
y'all
designed differently.
stingy at
We are designed
times.
differently. But there was like a whole lot of advice on how we should try and schedule.
But that doesn't keep the fireball going at
Yes,
times.
I get it.
Because it's like,
It's not spontaneous.
lunchtime. Sometimes you want to be spontaneous, you know what I mean? Like,
Yes,
I
but
could have had a great day at work, and I'm just like, yeah, tonight.
okay, but what I'm taking out of that, ne? I'm not taking it as a, hey, Monday we're having sex at 12 o'clock today, and this and this. No, that's not how I'm taking it. But we have this conversation all the time. We feel it is a healthy balance if we get intimate 4 times a week, and there's a limping frog if it's now 2 times a week and it's no longer 4 times a week. Correct. And you'll even mention it. You'll be like, babe, we skipped a day or whatever it is, blah, 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 you know? So those, I think that for me is the scheduling part.
Okay, so
Establishing,
you mean then the frequency?
yes, establishing a healthy frequency for you and your partner.
Yeah.
So I think us as women, we jump into the whole, hey, I'm gonna cook, I'm gonna clean, I'm gonna wash for this guy, and then we don't consider. We just think, hey, it comes naturally, the whole taking care of somebody in the bedroom. Whereas you can't underestimate it. Do you get where I'm coming from? I think we underestimate it because you think it's just a physical thing. I just actually have to show up, kind of a thing.
No, I think if I can, and
Yes.
a lot of times, what I've picked up with us
Yeah.
is obviously marriage is a package.
Yes.
There's a lot of things that come into it. So I mean, I can't always say, hey, I'm expecting sex. You know what I mean? Like, I should know what gets you there, and it's a journey too. You know what I mean? So if I know, okay, cool, I'm in the mood. What do I do to get wifey in the mood? And I know one thing that gets you in the mood is conversation.
Yes.
For example, so I know, sit down, have a glass of wine, sit and chat and get you to chat and then I know, woohoo, score time for me. But you find that in a lot of couples don't or start to tire out in making effort. You know what I mean? And that effort now does no longer, it starts to, the lack thereof effort starts to translate in the bedroom. So you find that what then happens, and now I'm defending the sisters because it's like, gents are becoming lazier. So it's that thing of, because you're the wife, I expect it. And they're not putting in
You're
that
not
work.
trying.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It all boils down to effort. So for certain things, I think it's so important to understand your person, one, because you know your person. You know what turns them on, you know what I mean? And one, make that effort to say, okay, cool. Two, you find that if your partner asks you for something and you're not listening or you're not doing certain things, obviously it's gonna affect because she then feels, or maybe I'm just speaking out of context, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
But at times I've seen this as well in other relationships where the woman will use sex as the transaction. So if you do 1, 2, 3, I will give you 1, 2, 3, kind of a thing.
Which was going to bring me to my next point. Thank you. The importance of establishing that 1 Corinthians 13 that we spoke about in the intro is so important because either than replacing the person's name with love, it's actually putting it into action. Do you know what I mean? So now forgiveness, for example, it's in 1 Corinthians 13. So a lot of us, we in theory, we're amazing kind of a situation. But in actual practice, now you tell yourself, hey, I am upset. He's getting nothing kind of a situation. It's
and they
like
drag
that.
it and drag it to a point, and to a point then there's a build up in something else to go.
Do you see what I mean? And a lot of the times we've seen where, and you know this, we've seen where, okay, firstly, there was like a legitimate, hey, reason to be upset. But because you are now upset for like 3 days, it's like, why are you upset for 3 days? For crying out loud, kind of a situation. Talk about it, vent it out, let this person know. Now you're upset for 3 days. Now 3 days later, when you are now fine, and now you want to go to your partner, now your partner's like, no, you were upset for 3 days, now it's my turn. Now it's like, it's ridiculous.
And
it's like
it's a cycle, it's a vicious cycle.
But you're opening yourselves up to so many other things, either than external things or whatnot, but something so small that could have been resolved in something like sometimes, and we've seen this with ourselves. Sometimes the solution is just getting it on.
Whoop it out,
the solution is just getting it on, and then you guys just feel lighter, and everything is fine. I agree.
And even then, you're able to have the conversation a lot better.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Then you can have the conversation.
Now you're like, okay, let's have the conversation. What was the
upsetting
issue?
you?
You know what I mean? Like, and it's true, because at times it's like, get that itch, scratch it, do whatever you need to do, and then it's like, okay, babe, what was happening? Like, what's happening.
But my
you
point
know?
is, if we genuinely are practicing the 1 Corinthians 13 kind of love, we should not get to a point where you sleep and go to bed with your partner and you're still upset. Like, we cannot wake up and discuss the same thing. Like, it cannot be the same
Well,
vibe.
sometimes the conversation, like we've had a moment where we've gone to bed upset
Okay.
and had to wake up and go, okay, what's up?
What is it?
You know, so it's not a. I mean, as much as yes, they say don't go to bed upset.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need that time. You know, sometimes you just need to sleep
Yes.
and go, okay, let's chat about it.
Too tired
You
to
know,
chat about
like
this.
you know what I mean. So it obviously there's different formulas that might work. You know, some people might be like, okay, let's fix it before we go to bed.
I want to
Others,
encourage people not to be upset with the other for longer than it should.
Yeah.
Do you know
I mean,
what I mean?
look, it also depends when the argument began.
Yeah.
You know, so if it's an argument that began at 9 p.m., maybe you need till 3 a.m. to
Got
be
it.
okay.
Yes.
So obviously that's a time where you'd sleep it off and then go, okay, now let's chat about it.
Yeah.
You know, but obviously if it happened in the morning and you are still upset in the afternoon,
Yeah.
when we haven't addressed it.
So that's why I'm
you
like,
know
I,
what
I think for me, it's more encouraging young couples to work on themselves, to not be angry for longer than you know. Do you know what I mean? Like there's hey, I'm genuinely upset, and there's hey, I'm actually just going to stretch it. Listen, I have heard people going, I'm going to take it. You know, other couples will start a fight so that they can go do stuff
Oh,
outside.
we've seen that.
Do you know what
A
I
number of
mean?
times,
So that's why
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
it's
it's
so
like-
important to consider, what are you fighting about? Is it genuine? And obviously give yourself time. I'm not saying get over it, but I'm saying give yourself time to think about it. But in your thinking, think about solving the situation. We can't just, hey, it's end all, do all, one and come on. It doesn't work like that. But yes, to keep the romance in the bedroom, I completely think, and I think for us women, it's a lot of the time, like, you need to kind of, make sense to me mentally and emotionally, because I'm not a physical being, kind of a situation. Makes sense to me more emotionally and mentally. I mean, there are ladies who are just like, listen, we don't even have to chat. Let's just get this going. But for myself personally, mentally, emotionally,
No, look, it goes back to the effort.
yes.
Like, are you putting in that effort to get me there? Like,
Yes.
the same way when I was trying to get into your pants or courting you kind of a thing, I put in effort. You know, where I say, oh, look, I've cooked dinner and everything. And I think that's where we speak about consistency
Yes.
throughout the marriage. To say, okay, you got to be consistent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, when you do slack, it then, like I said, translates
Yeah.
in the bedroom.
Even
because,
for myself, I can't
you
like
know,
cook for you and I iron for you just before the ring comes. Here
And
I
then
am. I'm
after
like
that-
wife material, and then after that, I'm like, nah. I'm not up for it. I think you're right. Consistency is so important. Communication. Also, I
Big
think
one.
it's so important to talk about your needs. We speak about this all the time. What do you need in the bedroom? What are your needs? Because a lot of us were not, how do I put it? Some of us probably were never active before you got married. I know there's a cousin of mine who got married and she was a virgin.
experience.
Do you see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
now you're coming into the situation and you don't know anything about it. But and sometimes you're thinking that everything in the Kama Sutra is what should be done, and your husband's just happy with like this, just having pap and vors,
now,
and you're wanting to bring in the salmon
okay,
and the oysters,
let's
and
say-
he's like, no.
Okay, let's say you're a virgin.
Okay.
You're a virgin. And then I was valet. We know, hey, situationships
Yes.
and stuff like that. But now I come in and I like this position and that position. How do you then communicate with me to say, babe, I'm not that experienced?
I think you would have known
Or do
before
I
we
come?
got married.
Wait, but like now I'm trying to understand, like, because we say, okay, communicate, but now who communicates? Do you communicate or do I
We
communicate?
both communicate our needs. There's no way that you are not getting to learn. How else are you going to get to learn someone else's body?
Okay, I'm gonna give an example. So what
Okay.
if I say I'm not satisfied with like the way you give head?
Okay.
Not that I'm not, like, but let's say I'm not satisfied with how you give head. How do I then communicate that to you?
You then say it.
But won't that affect you, like emotions
No,
and
I
everything?
think
Won't I
also
be
there's a
hurting your
way. I think
emotions?
there's a way to going. Maybe if describe it and say maybe if you touched my neck a little, then I would think. I debate. There's books, there's movies about how to communicate your needs to this person. Educate yourself. It's part of the effort. It is part of the effort in
Okay,
educating.
so you're not gonna take offense if I'm like, nah, babe, 1, 2, 3.
I am going to take offense.
But you see,
But you must find a way to communicate with me. What I'm saying is, if you suggest rather than put down.
so what? So I go, babe. Maybe must try. Okay, let's role play it.
Okay.
So okay, sharp.
Don't make
so-
it about him.
No, but then
Okay,
what?
fine. Make it about it.
Exactly. So, babe, if where do I begin? You see, like I'm even struggling to be like, okay,
I'll be you.
okay, be me,
sharp.
sharp.
Just be like, oh, okay, that was great. But maybe, if you touched my hip, I'd like it more. You're a little soft. But that's what I'm saying. You're actually you're instilling positivity. You telling me
Oh, so I'm not like-
what you would like
I'm not
instead
going
of
like,
breaking
you
me
suck,
down. Yes, that's what I'm saying.
All Tabi saying was, yeah, yo.
No, that is ridiculous. No. Don't
No,
put down your
obviously,
woman.
no,
Don't. Or else
that's
you
true.
will never have it. It will never happen in the bedroom ever again. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we're those people. Like, it's like if you came in and I was cooking spinach and you're like, hey, my mother makes it better. My response is going to be like, please go tell your mother to make you spinach.
True,
It's
fair,
like
fair.
that. So
Okay.
don't bring the person down,
Yeah.
but rather instill positivity. Rather go,
Yeah, so communicate.
how
and
about we
just
try it like
suggest-
this?
Okay.
Yes.
All right, it's okay.
Not, oh my gosh, you are so
also,
horrible.
so like next time I should be like, I like it when you do 1, 2, 3 kind of a thing.
Guys,
Yeah.
we hope that we were so helpful today.
Why you cutting it?
We hope that we were so helpful today. Thank you so much for tuning in to Happily Ever After. Remember to clear your minds sooner than later, just to keep the fire going. Make time, ladies. Please make time for like bedroom time. I'm sorry, that's what I'm going to say. It is so important. And yes, guys, please make an effort. What else would you like to say?
I'm gonna go get some.
Oh my word. And yes, thank you so much for tuning in. Please remember to like, subscribe, comment, and share. And of course, we will see you next week. Thank you.
I am who you crown me. You crown me.